Hello everyone, I am Krishna Singh. I, along with my co-author Anupriya, will be presenting our paper on darker patterns, AI-generated persuasion, and the regulatory void in Indian law. Over to you, Anupriya.
Thank you, Professor Chauhan. Hello, everyone. So on 25th of October, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, tweeted the following. I expect AI to be capable of superhuman persuasion well before it is superhuman at general intelligence, which may lead to some very strange outcomes. Now, this is merely one person's opinion. However, there are layers of truth hidden beneath this opinion. While superhuman persuasion may be some distance away in the future, the ability of technologies to persuade and manipulate human choices is already here. In our paper, we discuss one very important limb of such persuasive technologies called dark patterns. So, what is persuasion? Persuasion is all around us. All advertising is persuasion. Most political speech and a significant amount of speech on social media is also persuasion. Influencing others' opinion has not only become extremely common, but in fact, it has turned into a profession, often influencer, as we all know. However, it is not just influencers who influence, the entire virtual ecosystem has become an ecosystem of influence. So, now in this context, let's look at the concept of dark patterns. The phrase dark patterns is described as tricks used in websites and apps that make you do things that you did not mean to, like buying or signing up for something. Research reveals that dark patterns were present in 95% of the leading 240 Android applications and in over 50% of prominent websites. Dark pattern is not any one strategy, but there are many types of dark patterns. For instance, the most recognized forms include number one, the Roach Motel. In this, users can easily get into a situation but find it exceptionally difficult to get out. For instance, subscriptions that are easy to take but virtually impossible to exit. The second type is sneak into basket. Items are added to your shopping cart without the user consent, often leading to unintended purchases. And the third type is confirmed shaming. Guilt tripping users into taking a particular action by using emotionally charged language is one such type. And there are many more types. Dark patterns range on a spectrum of aggressive or mild, and research has found that mild dark patterns were far more effective than aggressive ones. In other words, the less aware the user is about the presence of the dark pattern, the more likely it is to be effective. This has particular significance for the creation of dark patterns through technology like artificial intelligence that can engage in subliminal influencing at a much faster and effective way. Let's see what AI is. Definition of AI is the matter of ongoing debate. However, the recent spurt in the development of this technology has been made primarily possible by techniques such as machine learning and in particular artificial neural networks or ANNs. ANN-based AI has the following characteristics. First, it is autonomous. It creates its own algorithms for solving problems. It is therefore capable of solving much more complex problems with a much higher degree of accuracy and without further human input. Added to this persistence and the speed at which AI works, and they often surpass human capabilities. One of the applications of AI is the design of UI or UX. UI or UX stands for user interface and user experience. User interface refers to the visual elements of a product or a system, whereas user experience encompasses all aspects of a user's interaction with the product or system, including its usability, accessibility, and desirability. AI systems can design UI or UX to maximize user engagement by using personalization and automation to the extent that UI and UX deceive users to take actions that they would not take otherwise. So this constitutes dark pattern. AI-powered dark patterns can be made mild beyond recognition. Consider this Duolingo image. Traditional dark patterns created deceptions applicable to human beings generally, but AI-powered dark patterns have the ability to personalize the deception. A message of this nature may very well be tailored to suit the individual user, whose emotional and psychological points of susceptibility may be easily gathered by an AI. In other words, these are dark patterns because of the ability of the AI system to turbocharge the intensity as much as diversity of these patterns. Over to you, Professor Chauhan.
Thank you, Anupriya. In fact, the darker patterns become even more dark. The problem goes deeper than the design of UI UX. As captured by Kinnaird, we can see that there are some fundamental differences between dark patterns created by humans and dark patterns powered by AI. It's the very goal which is different. Dark patterns created by human designers are meant to mislead the user into taking an action that they would not take without the misleading. However, AI powered dark patterns aim at a very different aspect. They aim at changing the behavior of the user. And that is why what they do individually become entirely different. A simple dark pattern designed by a human would first of all exploit a well-known behavioral characteristic or a bias of a human. Then they will make this human pay for something that they did not want primarily. And they would next make canceling difficult upon detection of the payment by the user. And the repercussion usually is outrage and possible legal actions. AI-powered dark patterns, because they focus on changing the behavior, first gradually alter the behavior by controlling the content and the features of the UI UX that the user is exposed to. They wait patiently, observe the behavior to change up to that point where AI's training suggests that the human may be ready for actually buying and paying for that particular item. The user is aware of the payment and believes that the payment has been made out of their own free will. And therefore, as the repercussion is that there is not going to be any legal action. In fact, the user may not be even conscious of the fact that their choice has been changed. There may be many examples, but one prominent example of such a darker pattern may be seen with reference to something like Replica. Just as an example, Replica is an AI-powered bot that is designed and trained to be a personal companion for the users. In fact, research has shown that Replica's users are known to form strong emotional bonds with their bots. In addition to the phones, these bots are also now available in augmented reality, thereby making their presence be felt much more real. Replica-like bots powered with AI's capabilities and with dark patterns can, in theory, effectively persuade users into believing that they are engaged in genuine relationships involving emotions, trust, and a sense of connection. And with that, one can only wonder about the limits of persuasion that is possible. With the background of these increasingly more dark patterns, let's quickly look at the Indian legal scape, and then we will discuss how the Indian legal scape is not prepared for these developments. One of the primary tools within the Indian jurisdiction is the Consumer Protection Act, but more specifically, on 30th of June, the Department of Consumer Affairs of the Government of India sent out a letter to major online platforms in India to refrain from incorporating any design or pattern in the online interface of their platform that may deceive or manipulate the consumer choice and fall in the category of dark patterns. The letter made it clear that such actions will be regarded as breaches of the consumer rights enumerated in Section 2, subsection 9 of the Consumer Protection Act of 2019. And furthermore, it will be considered as exploiting consumers' interests unfairly and falling under the category of unfair trade practices as defined by the Consumer Protection Act. If this is the legal background and these are the technological possibilities, what are the challenges? The biggest challenge that we have discussed at length above is the inability of the current laws in dealing with behavior changes that are orchestrated by AI systems. Consumer protection provisions focusing on unfair trade practices might not consider changing opinions of the customers as falling foul of the provisions, as many things such as advertisements are meant to change people's opinions. If an AI system, consider this example, having deep insights into a user's behavior and psychological patterns, displays imagery consistently on their screen, and steadily influences them to, for example, be more interested in traveling by presenting traveling as the cool and fun activity that would make them popular among their peers. Is this action by the AI an unfair trade practice? The answer is not obvious. One possible solution could be transparency and labeling obligations, which could be useful insofar as they protect the users from deception regarding the nature of the content that they encounter. However, the question still remains, would that be sufficient? AI generated content, even when labeled as such, can still influence the choice made by the users. Should labeling obligations go even further? Perhaps, in addition to labeling that the content is AI generated, it might be necessary to provide a different label. Beware, AI systems and AI generated content can change your perception and worldview. In conclusion, I would like to quote two suggestions made by Willis as solutions to this problem. The first involves the courts presuming that false beliefs held by consumers in transactions are likely instigated by the businesses that benefit from it. This presumption can be rebutted by the businesses by adducing evidence that the false beliefs originated from an independent source. And the second approach advocates that the law should acknowledge that capitalizing on consumer confusion for profit, irrespective of the method of deception, whether it is human-generated dark pattern or AI-powered dark pattern, fundamentally constitutes an unjust practice. This approach makes the liability of the business strict in the sense that their causal connection with the deception is irrelevant, and all that matters is whether they benefit from the misplaced belief of the consumers. These two measures would help bring all types of AI-enabled dark patterns within the remit of law and also improve the chances of getting an effective remedy. That's all from our end, and we would like to have your comments and questions. Thank you very much.